Pleased to be joined by Flat Earth David Weiss.
Either one, and it's good. David Weiss, Flat Earth Dave.
Yeah, well, it's been a much anticipated interview. If you haven't heard us before, my name's Brandon. This is
resident expert Sean,
and we are a music history podcast. And we did an episode of part of our Conspiracy Corner where we talked about Metallica playing Antarctica. And
Never
I
happened.
used a little bit of a tangent to kind of wedge in Flat Earth, right? Yeah, right. And we did an episode on Flat Earth, and I used your podcast to do the preponderance of the research, a good bit of it. I thought it was great. One of the better. I still listen to it, and I use the app and everything, and become a big fan. So we thought we'd have you come on and kind of lay down more of the basics that I wasn't able to cover, and maybe answer some questions that I wasn't able to answer quite so.
Sure. I mean, I have to ask you a question. How does it feel having a podcast host that's insane, that thinks we live on a spinning ball flying through an infinite space vacuum?
You have to ask my co-host.
Yeah, I think I can answer that question better. It's difficult and challenging at times, yes, but we try to keep the conversation light.
Okay. I've tried to explain. We had this conversation. By the time you get done with, like you've said it many times on your show, once you get into it, once you see it, you're not going to unsee it. And if once I kind of got into this, got down into the rabbit hole, the proverbial rabbit hole of researching it, I thought, well, it takes so much more cognitive dissonance and mental gymnastics to believe in a round Earth than it does the flat Earth, and it becomes a fascinating kind of flippant reality, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily say y'all are insane. I would say
he's saying you're insane.
Oh, I'm insane. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you believe we live on a ball, all right? Just check this out.
Well, no, I can say that I have a lot of trust in my primary school education.
Well, that's a problem. All right. Yeah. So this is what you believe. You believe, I'll make it short, nothing exploded, created everything. And all of the rocks turned into balls, and all of the gases turned into bigger balls. And they left a vacuum in between, which defies every law of thermodynamics possible. We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour. So when you're watching the sunset, the sun's not going down or away. You're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound. We're orbiting around the sun at 66,600 miles an hour. We're chasing the sun at over 500,000 miles an hour. And that entire system's moving sideways at millions of miles per hour. And somehow the stars never change. That's what you believe.
It does take quite a bit of mental gymnastics for me to get up in the morning. And
imagination is what it takes. You need to imagine, because the only thing that's in space is your imagination. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, like that's what we kind of want, because everyone said, well, how could you possibly, pigeonhole, or how can you possibly kind of turn this music history story into flat Earth? And it's like, well, it's basically all connected. We all believe all of these fallacies that kind of start at believing that we're on a spinning ball that is like it's hurtling through space and it's rotating around the sun. When you sit down and really think of it, it doesn't really make any sense. And it really makes, like Sean was going, well, how do I even know that my favorite like Van Halen record is real? And it's like,
yeah, I'm skeptical now.
I don't want you to not believe
a little bit here,
but it's good. It's good that it makes you question very fundamental things. And one of the fundamental things that I think we were talking about starting on is, could you give us just kind of a breakdown of what you think what the Earth looks like, so people have a visual to work on?
Sure, but let me comment on one thing you said, that you believe. You're questioning what you believe. That's good. You need to question what you believe, because belief is easy. Belief takes zero effort, zero time.
Oh, yeah.
And it's instantaneous.
For sure, the easy way.
What's my name?
Flat Earth Dave.
Do you know that?
Well, it's what you told me, so I believe it.
You believe it. Belief is easy. It takes no research. Right. Do you know it? No. You trusting. I like to go through this world trusting people, right? I believe, I believe lots of things until I'm screwed. But when you understand that NASA's lying, well, they're lying about one thing. They're lying about everything. Okay?
Yeah.
And they're lying about everything. They're not lying about one thing. But if you catch them in one thing, we've caught them in everything. You can unwind the whole thing. So I'm going to show you some crazy things. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is just insane. Flying through the infinite space vacuum. No, none of the stars ever change. No parallax. You know, scientists say the way they can tell stars is they'll see one star that's closer and another star that's farther, and then they'll look at it. And then 6 months later, when we're on the other side of the sun, 186 million miles, 186 million miles, they'll see that star lines up with a different star, right? And therefore, that's called parallax. You know, when something in front of you moves faster than the things in the distance.
Right.
And that's how they can calculate the distance. What they're forgetting is every year the Earth is chasing the sun at 4.4 billion with a B miles. So we've traveled 4.4 billion miles, but there's no parallax there. Just 186,000, there's parallax. Okay, and then what about year after year after year after year after year, where it's all compiling on? And the stars never change. You go to the pyramids, there's a shaft that points at Polaris. You go to the Georgia Guidestones, there's a shaft that points at Polaris, right?
Yeah,
it never moves.
That is a good point. I'm curious, do you know how far light would travel in a year?
Light years are made up story. Light is here, it's instantaneous, and I don't believe it has a speed, but that's irrelevant to the shape of the Earth.
So do you think that the span of, let's say, 3,000, 4,000 years for the pyramids since they were built, do you think that time span is significant compared to how long the Earth has been around?
I don't know if that time frame is even accurate. I don't know. Anything beyond 1900 is a guess, and it's all lies. Everything, the Wild West is a lie. Discovering America is a lie. Our Capitol building was here before we discovered America. Okay, there's Tartaria was a worldwide civilization.
Well, I mean, it needs to, right? Like, because it's not just. That's why everyone says, "Why should I care? Why should I care if the Earth is flat?" And it's like, well, because it is the string that unravels the sweater for many, if not most, right? It's like, well, we've done a whole episode on NASA and the moon landing.
Yeah.
Now, like, I think Sean still believes in the moon landing, but I mean, like, I grew up fervently believing.
I like to pretend to make y'all mad.
Well, I mean, it was one of those things again when I looked in that, couldn't believe in that. So you're right. Like, once you get into like, okay, NASA has lied about this, or this thing isn't correct, then like, why would the rest of it be correct? Like, we're watching right now a man playing is this the golf on the moon thing?
No, he's trying to pick up a hammer that he dropped, but he can't because he's hanging from a helium balloon or a crane, and he can't get enough downward momentum to reach it.
And what do you think?
It does look like that.
It looks like that because it is that. Okay. Looks like shit, tastes like shit, is shit.
It's probably a duck then.
Well, that's okay. So looks like that'd be another kind of. Everyone says, well, we've got plenty of pictures of the globe. We got all these pictures of the globe. I don't say that. Could you elaborate on
this one?
On that one. Yes.
That one is one that funny, can't delete it from Zoom, which is the number one. Yeah, it's one of those that you can't. They won't let you delete it. Isn't that weird?
Is this background supposed to be a real image?
Well, I don't believe that. They never see. That's what they do. They never tell us whether what they're showing us is supposed to be a real image because it's obviously not a real image. But they don't tell you. That way, no one can ever figure out what's going on. Which one of these is a real image? Because the United States is twice the size in one of them.
I think the Mickey Mouse one is real.
The Mickey Mouse, not one on the bottom. So you're a comedian now because you're already a flat earther and you just don't want to admit it. Okay. At any point, listen, at any point during this, put your hands up and say, I'm a flat earther. Okay. And then I will stop torturing you because I'm going to torture you.
This is not
it's happened for me. It's happened for me. And I went into it maybe with a little more inclination because I thought, well, I'd already been on the moon landing trip and I thought, wait a second, this doesn't check out. So, but there is, I think he's right. There's definitely a point. And you can see, like, okay, so we're looking at these essentially strips of data, right? That a NASA artist has interpreted and then colorized.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one on the bottom left of blue marble. Here's one where in 1978, they said this is the photo, right? Not a photo. And then in 2017, they're like, look how bad the pollution is, right? This is what they showed us. But the clouds didn't change. It's the same clouds. Look at this guy.
Oh, wow, you're right.
Same clouds, all right? Look at this. Same clouds.
Well, could you give people kind of I think people also, have a misunderstanding or maybe a kind of overgeneralization that, well, we got into the thing about Antarctica because of the ice wall theory. And I think that they think that flat earthers believe that the world is essentially like an edgeless Frisbee, that like water just falls off the edge. And if we go to the end, we all fall off. So I think they have a misunderstanding of kind of a visual representation of what it might look like.
But if you Google flat earth, you end up with photos like this. This is not what flat earth is. We're not a disk floating in space, because space doesn't exist, and we're not a disk. Right? We're not a disk floating in a heliocentric solar system or a pancake Earth with ball planets. Not true. Ball planets don't exist. There are no planets. They're wandering stars is what they used to be called until they were recently changed to planets.
They were all the ancient texts call them stars. Not even just ancient texts, but like medieval astronomers call them stars, right?
Yeah.
They don't refer them.
Right. So what is the Earth? I say that we live on an extended plane. How far extended? Don't know. You guys have infinite space, so I say an infinite plane. Okay, so we're on an extended plane, and we are a puddle within that plane. So there's a pond. It's the Earth pond. It's our known world, and all of the continents are surrounded by land, and all of the water is surrounded by Antarctica. It's just land that goes on, extra land. So Antarctica is not a little continent at the bottom of a ball. They just, you know, wrapped it around and said, oh, it's just here. And they're hiding more land. They're hiding the real Earth, more Earth. Here's a map. What's that?
Hiding. What do you think the purpose of hiding all that land is?
Just control of the world. They want to keep us here in our little prison, the prison for our mind. It's the globe.
You can't fly over it. You can't do anything in it. Right.
Right. Here is a map 10 centuries old that shows like 30 other continents beyond the shoreline of Antarctica. It's not the ice wall, guys. It's the shoreline of Antarctica that kind of looks like a wall, right? You can't fall off a flat Earth because it's like falling off a lake. And the shoreline, people go, show me a picture of your Antarctic ice wall. Well, here's a video and a picture. Do 2 seconds of research. You can find 5,000 pictures. Okay. Right. And people know that's just an iceberg. No, it's not. It's the shoreline of Antarctica. Now, are there areas where there's whether you can pull a boat up? Yeah, I think so, but I haven't seen them.
And they've sold a lot of this is contingent upon the idea that, Antarctica is at the bottom, the North Pole is at the top. And then that's why I thought, well, why would you not, we did an episode on Metallica. Why would you not take one of the biggest bands in the world to continue this kind of propagate this lie that we're going to go to the quote unquote ends of the earth, the bottom of the earth, and we're gonna do it at the farthest possible point. But it's just we're going. How did you get there? Well, we went south, and we got everyone to come down to the South Pole. It's like, well, that didn't really happen. It's all part of it.
And they played under a dome. They're always rubbing it in their faces.
Wow, you're right. Yeah,
they played under a dome. Billions of people have circumnavigated east and west. You can leave New York heading east, continue east, you'll end up over in China, Japan, and you come back around and you're back in New York again, and you dead reckoned east or dead reckoned west, either way. 0 people have done it this way. Why is that?
So
0.
By that theory, do you think that these people going east-west are going in a circle?
100%. Right. So the way it works is east and west are not straight lines. Here's our magnetic center. Our compass is pointing towards that center, and I'm pushing this compass west. No, I'm pushing, west. And to go west, I have to keep turning. Otherwise, I'll be going south. Every straight line is south. I'll show you that in a second. Right. So that's west. Now I'm going to go east. Remember, this always has to point to the center. So my compass is dead reckoning east. This is a big circle. It's thousands of miles. If I put you on a racetrack that was 500 miles and a perfect circle, you would think you were driving in a straight line. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. And so now I'm going to try to dead reckon west. And if I don't correct to the north, I'm immediately going south. Okay. That is pointing south. South is every direction away from the center. Okay. Now you can go north, and then past the north, and now you're heading south. I'm gonna go south now. And if I go south, I just go away. And on a ball, if I go south, which is this way, here we go, I should pop up over here as soon as I disappear off the edge. Nobody's ever done that.
Right.
And now I'm going to go north, going north, right? And as soon as I pass the North Pole, you see how the compass just did a 180? I'm heading south. Guess what? That's south. That's south.
Right.
That's south. Every direction is south, right? If my compass says east is that way and I go in a straight line, that's south, because east goes like this. It goes around.
Anything, like you said, anything that's not facing the center is going to be south.
Every straight line goes south. If you're going north, as soon as you pass the center, you're going south without turning.
Sorry, if you're going east or west, though, that's a circle. Correct?
That's a circle. You have to constantly correct. Now, on a ball, if you're on the underside of a ball, if you're going east or west, you'd have to correct to the south if the Earth is a globe. Yeah. But there's ship's captains that said when they're trying to dead wreck in east or west in the southern oceans, they always have to correct to the north. Huh. They can't figure it out.
Could you explain one of the big rationales for me that I used, especially in the show that we did, was how, well, if you're on a globe that's rotating, and they say it's rotating like west to east, correct? They're okay. So they're like if I'm flying from, we use the example Austin to either LA or Miami, the flight to LA should be far shorter because it's rotating towards me, and I'm having to chase Miami. So could you maybe elaborate, touch on that, and then why the big question that we got from that was why then, and I'm relatively familiar with the answer to it, but if you could elaborate on it, why a flight from, say, Sydney to maybe Buenos Aires wouldn't take far longer than it does, because those are farther apart on the flat Earth map than they would be on a globe.
Right. So while I'm doing that, I want you to go into your Zoom settings and select your microphone. I don't think your microphone's on. Tap your mic.
Oh man, really?
Tap your mic. You're both that's off.
We're
so if you go into Zoom, go up to Zoom, and then preferences and settings, you'll see audio and select your microphone.
Yeah, we're using our computer microphone to talk to you.
Oh, okay.
Oh, all right.
All right, no problem. I mean, you got your mics. I'm a fan of good audio. All right, so here we go. Buenos Aires to Perth. Flight aware, or whatever the flight thing says, this is the shortest route on a globe, right over Antarctica. But you know why we're not allowed to fly over Antarctica? Because we don't want to disturb the penguins. Okay, don't want to disturb the penguins. All right. And so the shortest flight would kind of just be around the side or go around this way. All right, no problem. But the real flight route is a little different. It goes from Buenos Aires to either Miami or Houston, and then it stops in LA, and then it stops in Sydney, and then it goes here. It takes like 26 hours. Or depending on the wind currents, it goes to Europe, Singapore, and Perth, right? Why didn't they just jump across and pop up over here? The answer is because you can't. Earth is flat.
Huh. Interesting.
It is interesting. Thank you for noticing.
Are there any flat earthers that have the means to research this, like, for themselves? Like, does anybody have a plane or a ship or anything like that they can go and get some actual photos and video and things?
Well, because of the Antarctic Treaty, no one's allowed to go beyond 60 degrees south, and you can't even see Antarctica from that distance. Okay. And the last guy that tried, he was intercepted by 2 warships, threatened to sink him. Even though his country gave him permission, he was sent home, and he was jailed when he got home.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was do you know, like, the name of the country?
You know what? Someone gave me all that information. I have it. I don't know the name off the top of my head. But let's go back to the plane routes. Here is China Airlines to Taiwan to LA. And right here, there was a medical emergency. Someone was having a baby or heart attack, and they could have landed in Hawaii. They could have continued, but instead they went thousands of miles out of their way to Alaska. And the reason for that is because this is the real route that they were taking. Taiwan, emergency, Alaska. Right. Hawaii's all the way out here somewhere. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't make, and that was going to be my, maybe we'll talk at some point, but I actually have epilepsy. I know on the show you've been looking for.
I've been looking for somebody to trigger.
With the rationale.
Seizures for science. Come on.
Right. Seizures for science. I really like that. But the point being, like, you'd have to, I mean, I'm not saying I would do that, but if it happened, divergence would prove the point, right?
Well, there's so many times, and these emergency landings happen all the time.
All the time. Right?
And here's 16 that were documented in this book. Greatest book ever. It's in the app under books and settings. I highly recommend you buy it. You can get it for free, the PDF, but it ain't the same as having a coffee table book. It's a great book to lay on the table. If someone picks it up, they become a flat earther. Like, damn, I went over to Joe's house for friggin' a beer, and now I'm a flat earther, right?
You assume his name is Joe.
I'm just saying, just saying that, just throwing a random name out there. I wasn't even talking about you. And so 16 of them, they make 0 sense on a globe, and they make absolute perfect sense on a flat earth. Documented. NASA, the liars, not a space agency, are in charge of radar. They're in charge of GPS. They're in charge of all flight routes.
They control all the means of not only of information, but dispersal of that information.
Yeah.
So it's like the NASA thing. Once you get over that, it is.
So check this out. Flat Earth has become such a big thing that even in the Senate hearings over fake news, they brought up Flat Earth as an example of what YouTube's going to do to stop fake news. And this is brought up on purpose. And they're like, well, we're going to put a little highlight, Wikipedia thing that says Flat Earth is stupid. And we're not going to recommend those videos. So when you if you Google Flat Earth, search Flat Earth YouTube, you're going to find garbage. You're going to find propaganda pieces. You're going to find stuff that's going to control your weak mind.
It really was just because I personally, that was my experience to go through, try to research this episode. Everything that you YouTube, Googled, whatever, was 21 crazy things flat earthers believe. Oh, can you believe people actually, it was all mocking.
And if you watch that, you go, oh man, flat earth is really stupid. And then you're done.
Yeah.
But so in my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, on the web page, if you hit the web button, there's a debunking the debunkers, and all of those videos that you'll find, they're in there and they're debunked. We went through them. We didn't just say, oh, that's fake. We showed you how they're faking it. National Geographic with their helicopter at this, we did the Salton Sea test. They pretended the helicopter was going behind the lake, but they edited it and they faked it. They put fake birds in. It's insane what they do. And we caught them. Why are they lying? Why do you need to lie about something that if it's true? So Neil deGrasse Tyson saying, the science, this is flat earthers are dangerous because they're impeding our growth of our children. All of this stuff, all of this effort, I can solve it in one day. They can prove the globe, and it won't cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. It will be extremely cheap. Here's how you do it. Get a bunch of people, fly them to Antarctica right here at the base. Refuel the planes, 2 big planes, load them up. You guys get on there. Flat earthers get on there. Scientists get on there. Neil deGrasse Tyson gets on there. All of them. We all get on there. One plane, you just fly about 1,000 feet in the air so you can see the land. That way you can tell, if you're at 45,000 feet, you don't know how fast you're going. You don't know if you're going 500 miles an hour or 1,000 miles an hour. But at 1,000 feet, you can see the ground. You could okay, I've been on planes many times. We're going about 500 miles an hour. Okay. So you're on a basic plane. Right. And you just go on a, regular, DC, whatever, Airbus 300, whatever it is. And everyone looks out the left window and just watches the land, and you just skirt the coast. And then this one, everyone looks out the right window and you skirt the coast. Well, this is 13,000 miles around. About 9 hours later, 6,500 miles later, both planes should meet over here. Yeah, but it's not going to happen because that's not how the world is set up. The last person to try to do it was Captain Cook. He went around on his boat, took him 3.5 years. He went over 60,000 miles.
Oh, wow. Which, I mean, again, like you're getting closer. We're getting closer to the point.
I have so many more questions now. But,
well, good. That's good that you're having questions. You're not just short circuiting. I appreciate that.
Yeah, listeners to our show know how we feel about Neil deGrasse Tyson, so we're on the same page about that one.
He's a lying, failed actor. Him, Bill Nye, the Bill Nye the lying guy with the bow tie, is also just an idiot. Sellout. He sold his soul for what? I don't know what he sold it for.
Most certainly not a scientist. But yeah, whatever. That's
I got a question for you, Dave. So what is keeping us on this plane?
Yeah.
In an upright orientation?
Well, a lot of flat earthers will say that it's buoyancy and density that sort themselves out. If I had a handful of ping pong balls and rocks and I held them in the air over a body of water, they would both fall through the air because they're more dense. Mm-hmm. Then the ping pong balls would sit on top of the water because they're less dense, and the rocks would go to the bottom of the pool because it's more dense.
Does that mean my feet are more dense than my head?
No, because you could stand on your head, right? But what's sticking you to the earth? You're more dense than the air around you. But if you go in a pool, you're maybe less dense than the pool. You might float, right? Especially when you take a deep breath of air, you're less dense overall. Okay. So, but here's the thing. So imagine I had a handful of things that I'm going to drop, but I snap my fingers and the entire earth disappears. How will they know to go down?
Right.
Where is down?
Yeah. Right.
So I'm with you. So this is where we've been having this discussion. There's some flat earthers that are like, no, because, so there's a force. Well, the earth is electric and magnetic in testable. The earth has a negative charge to it. It attracts, it has a weak charge to it that attracts things. When you lift off the earth, every meter you go up, there's another 100 volts of electricity. Okay. In the air, there's free energy. It's everywhere. Testable, measurable. Tesla proved it.
Right.
And so when that negative charge says, hey, down's this way, it's a weak force this way, and then buoyancy and density sort everything else out. You've seen those density towers where you have oil and milk and nuts and grapes and everything sorts out due to buoyancy and density. But, in 0G, if they took them on a 0G plane, nothing really sorts out until there's a force. And that force is the electrostatic charge of the earth. So how can we test this?
Okay.
Yeah. So how can we test this? And it's actually quite easy to test. You ever see those triangle, these triangle things? You put a negative charge into it, and as soon as it's stronger than the Earth's charge, it goes up.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah,
just put in the anti-gravitic negative, tinfoil triangle. It'll come up. There's billions of videos of them.
Yeah, Mythbusters tried to do it, but it didn't work out for them. But I'm not surprised.
Mythbusters is a paid shill, gatekeeping community.
Oh, I get you.
It's funny because it was hard to even find anything negating any of this on YouTube.
So we got a Van de Graaff generator, which generates a negative charge, and we hook it up to this plate, and so the plate we put above this is a negative charged, and you watch these little wood chips start going up as soon as we crank up the generator. And we did it with iron, right? But people say, well, that's magnetism, right? We did it with a piece of paper, human hair, and they go up as soon as this thing charges, right? So maybe that's how the rapture happens. The earth turns off its charge and we all get raptured.
I honestly did not think you were a believer in that.
I'm not saying I believe in that. I'm just saying maybe that's how it happens if you do believe in that.
Possible means, right?
So that kind of leads me to another question: is what's the point of all this? Is there any other platform that you can use besides the flat Earth to show that we're being lied to and controlled? Or is it that just this is the easiest one?
I mean, I used to do a conspiracy podcast about the New York event, the marathon event, the Connecticut school event, right? And I wake people up to all of this stuff, which is so easy to see, all of these fake things that they're controlling our minds with. And then people just go right back to sleep. But you wake them up to the true reality of our world. People say, hey, Dave, why the hell are you talking about flat Earth? There's so much going on in this world with the election and the COVIDs and the blah, blah, blah.
And real?
Yeah. Well, the people, there's all of this going on. How come you're not addressing that? And I say, all of that is going on so you don't address flat Earth. Right. It's all a distraction because they want you believing that you are spinning out of control, flying through an infinite universe where you are insignificant. You evolved from pond scum. You're going through an infinite galaxy, space vacuum where an asteroid could take you at any time. What they don't want you to know is that you are at the center of creation, that you have free will. You have the power of manifestation, that we're not running out of resources. We're not having global warming. None of this is true. We shouldn't pollute. Yes, but the man-made global warming is nonsense. Okay. They don't want you to know that they don't have any authority over you, right? When you wake up to flat Earth, you unplug from the matrix and you take back your power. And every flat earther that I know has taken back the power. They're unplugging from the matrix, right? I had the American dream. I had my own business. I live in Fairfield County on the East Coast, right? All is well. My company is making tons of money. And I walked away from it all because something told me that none of this is going to matter if people don't wake the fuck up and take our world back. If somehow we get our freedom back, how long can we keep it? If we're spinning out of control, lost in space, don't know who we are, right? The people that fight the flat Earth the hardest are the ones that have no idea what it is. I got Wits It Gets It. Austin,
Absolutely.
he's going around the whole country and he just has a microphone. He goes down boardwalks. He's done Atlantic City yesterday and he's talking flat earth, spewing facts. So people are standing there and then people will object. And he goes, okay, I have $100. You have to answer 3 questions right. And they're really easy. And I'll even tell you the answer to the first one. And he says, how many times does the earth spin in a day? How many times?
I would say 1.
Very good. That's 1. Okay. How far is the sun from the earth?
I would say I can look it up on Google, but
Nope,
it's
so you lose. You lose. You lose. You lose. These are the people that are defending. They're defending the globe. Okay, they're defending the globe.
I would like to say that there are idiots on every side.
There's idiots everywhere.
Yeah.
And that the other one other thing, and to make your point is, people say, "Oh, flat Earth is a religious thing. There's no Christians in it." I defy you to take 100 random people anywhere and not find a whole bunch of Christians in there.
Right. Yeah. But yeah, it's just the people who fight the flat earth the hardest, again, yes, they are the ones who have no idea what they're talking about or have never really heard about it. But again, to bring this circle back, the media just makes you guys seem like you're all idiots, and it's not fair.
Because they gaslight us. The media is part of the people that are ruling this world. And I call them people liberally because they've lost their souls. They're literally demons, and they run the media. They run the pharmaceutical empire. You know, they run all of this control thing.
They run every movie.
People don't know what's going on right now. The next 2 years, you're going to look back at 2021 and go, oh man, I wish it was like that again, right? This shit is coming down and people need to wake the fuck up. It can change. Literally, I say overnight, but it's still early in the day. We can change it before sunset, okay? If people just wake up and stop saying, the only power that the government, control, meant your mind, the only government has is in your own imagination. They're governing your mind, and they're controlling your mind. They're steering your mind with the north, east, west, south. What does that stand for? News.
Wow. That's very good.
You know, it really is the linchpin to all of it. Like it once you see it, you're like, it's everywhere. It's literally everything that we see. And we're, like we said, we're a music history podcast, right? That's what we usually do. It's so.
What about the Beatles?
Right. But it's so, we got a couple. Paul is fake. We got another one that's Paul is dead. We've got an episode.
You guys fans of Mike Williams, the Sage of Quay? You got to look up the Sage of Quay. He did a breakdown of fake Paul, real Paul, fake Paul. That's better than anything I've ever seen.
Oh wow! It's been a couple of years since.
Yeah, you got to look into that one.
But we are generally like, why else would we do this, right? Because it's so. Once you see this, I felt like it was so important to do something to get some kind of clarity to this and bring the message out there that it's like, why would we talk about flat earth on a music podcast? Because it's connected to literally, you can't talk about music history or history without circling back to this at some point.
Music is a big part of it. They use music to control our minds. The Rockefellers. So we live in this world. We're connected to the earth. There's a resonance of the earth, the Schumann resonance, and there's healing frequencies. You know, all of these old churches throughout the world, they weren't churches. They were healing centers with these friggin' organs that they couldn't even build today, right? It's all resonance, right? And the human resonance is 432. But the Rockefellers in the 50s said, we're changing it to 440, which literally causes cells to break, okay? Right? 432 is the human resonance, but they changed music to 440. Now there's musicians that have retuned their stuff back to 432. Like you listen to Mozart in 440 and it's like, oh, that's pretty good. You listen to 432, it like brings up emotions and stuff. But here's the thing. This world, the way they're winning this war is this is a spiritual war. There's literally, the people that run this world, they're wizards. There's not a better word for it. They're wizards because they know how this world works, and they know that your emotions and your thoughts and your focused energy create the things in this world. Everything you guys have is because of thoughts that you have, period. It's the way you brought this stuff into your life. All right. And it's the way you think, and they're using us to create their world. I believe that you need the emotions and the empathy and that energy, and they've lost it because they've sold their souls. So they're using us to create it for them, and they're keeping us living in fear when there's nothing to fear. I have one fear, that they come and say, Dave, we're going to give you your own little island where you can kite surf out of your backyard. You grow your own food. There's already mature mango trees on it. If you just shut up. That's my biggest fear. Okay.
You're not going to take that deal, right?
I might take the deal.
Oh,
okay.
No.
Oh,
No.
I've done my work. I've done it.
I was getting like not.
All right. I won't take it. I mean, I'm saying that, but man,
I'll take it then.
No kidding. No friggin' kidding.
We had the conversation before you even came on. Sean was going like, well, how much does Dave really believe? And I was going, everything. This is so important. He believes all of it because it is.
Right. Here's the truth. There's a lot that we don't know, but the beautiful part is we know that we don't know. People walking around have no idea that they don't know. Okay. Yeah. And they're living their life spinning out of control, lost in space. Just think about all those motions and flying through an infinite universe and asteroids and stars blowing up and all of this stuff. That's in your subconscious as from a child, right? What the first worksheet a kid brings home from school is the orbits of the planets and the moons, right? They got to know that's one of the first things. They're indoctrinating there. And then the next thing they learn is that the dinosaurs were destroyed by an asteroid hitting the Earth.
Space and dinosaurs. Like the first thing.
So what does that do to your psyche? That literally has you living in a fear matrix.
Yeah.
A fear matrix. Your core is about fear, about lack, about instability, spinning out of control, lost in space. Okay. Remember the show Lost in Space? I mean, they're lost in space, right? It's an analogy of what's going on in this world. And then when you disconnect from that, it's literally, it's like the documentary, The Matrix with Keanu Reeves, where at the beginning, he is lost. His soul knows the truth, but his mind is trapped in the matrix and he doesn't know where he is. And then they show him how to unplug. They show him the truth. And by the end of the movie, he knows who he is, where he is, what he is, and the power of his mind. Look at Neo at the ending scene and look at Neo at the beginning scene. Which Neo do you want to be?
I think the problem for most people, the pushback is that they know once you take let's say the proverbial red pill, right? You can't unsee.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's amazing.
There's so much pushback. Because why would you push back so hard against, like you said, you're indoctrinated with this stuff. But why would you push back that hard against?
If you guys are going to put this on YouTube?
Yeah.
So you're going to put on YouTube, there's a bunch of trolls that are going to show up. Jose, somebody, I forget their names, but they have zero content on their channel. They'll only make insults. They'll say Flat Earth is stupid. They'll say I'm a scammer trying to make money selling an app, right? When that's I am trying to make money selling an app because it's a great fucking app. It's the highest app. And everyone loves it. I tell some people, just go. I dare you to go read the reviews and then not buy it. I dare you.
It's fantastic. You've literally covered I couldn't think of a facet.
I'm adding more stuff all the time, right? And have you watched the last week? I've done a series of videos by Ewar.
Yep, just watched it on the way. I watched the one on the North Pole on the drive to the studio.
Yeah, there's 13 parts. Today is part 13.
Watch part 13 today.
Yeah. So you got to go back and watch the other ones. And then a week or so ago, there was parts 1 through 7 of a different series. Right, that's 5 hours. I don't want to send you that video. It's 45 minutes long. I'm respectful of people's time. I put this 5-hour video up. I've watched it 3 times. I want to watch it again. Okay. I challenge, I tell people, I have a playlist. I say, just watch 3 of these 12 movies and I guarantee you'll be a flat earther. Watch that 1 5-hour video and you'll be a hardcore flat earther. Here's the other thing. I haven't been bored in 6 years. Not for a friggin' second. There's not a second of boredom in my life. Can you imagine? People are bored. You are wasting your God-given gift here in this reality, right? I'm seeing new stuff every day. I know that I know this much, and there's an infinite amount of stuff to learn, right? And there's people that you can't even measure what they know because they don't know crap. They know sports, they know weather, they know they have to go to work, they know how to drink beer, and they go to concerts, and that's their whole life. Okay. And they're happy. You're like, oh, I'm doing good. I got a new car. I pay my bills. I've got a few $1,000 in the bank. That's the control system. Money. You know what? The only control government has is in your mind. It's in your imagination. Okay. The only value money has is in your imagination. But luckily, everyone believes it. So I can trade a guy $10 for a nice sandwich.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And so everybody believes it back and forth. Right. And that works. But that's coming to an end soon.
Yeah. Okay. So one thing before I wanted to get two things in. Could you? I want to encourage everyone. No joke. To go get the app. The app is if we have anything we haven't covered here, it will absolutely be covered in the app. It is the most comprehensive point of information.
Let me tell you real quick. It's in the App Store. You need an iPhone 6 or better or an iPad. And in the Google Play Store, there's a knockoff by the Flat Earth Society already. It's a Ron Media Group. They took my graphics. It's a horrible app. Feel free to get it. I think it's free, but don't send me an email telling my app sucks because it's not my app. It's done by the Globe Trolls, and they're feeding you crappy information, and you'll never wake up with it. And it also looks like crap. But you need a Android 8.0 or higher operating system. Okay. It's $2.99 in the United States, whatever that translates into other currencies. Fine. One-time charge. You will get a pop-up, one little pop-up that says, would you like to subscribe? Because people ask me for a donation button. They're like, Dave, this app is great. How can we fund you to make it better, add more things? And I said, oh, I'll put a donation button on, but they don't allow that. No donation button. So I put a subscribe button. And you know what it gets you? Nothing. Okay. But the pop-up comes up once a day. There's no ads. And you can exit out the second it comes up. So it pops up, exit out. Now you got the app for the whole day. The next day when you're using the app, it's going to pop up again. Would you like to subscribe? Exit out. No problem. You still get everything. Okay.
Even to preface it, it's like you're clearly an honest man with good intentions here.
But here's the thing. If every morning when you wake up, before you take a piss, you grab your phone to see what the video is, okay, you need to subscribe, all right? You should subscribe. And you can subscribe for the year, $11 for the year. And you're done for the whole year. $11. You bought me, what, 2.5 beers. Okay?
I owe you more than that, my friend. One quick thing, a Globe Troll, the guy that I had the biggest hang up on, not a big fan, would say he's a curmudgeon of the show, an interview of the show. What's his name? Professor Dave, right? So
he's the worst. He's not Professor Dave. He won't talk to any of us live. We want to come on a show. We've taken his stuff apart in the app under the debunks button. There's a bunch of his videos in there, and he makes his point, and then we show him he's gaslighting us. He's using Flat Earth Society stuff.
Pimps him so hard every time. Like he's first in the algorithm every time you look up Flat Earth. And one of his big points, and I think it's fair for a lot of people to ask questions. They're not sure then why would the sun and moon be round? Why would we can negate other planets, because I think we kind of explained that a little bit. To their visual, the visual that they're taking in, they're seeing what they perceive to be a round sun and a round moon. Could you explain kind of how we view that and so, how, from what they see?
Sure, absolutely. This is Mars. This is what Mars really looks like. Okay, NASA will tell you it's a dusty, dirty ball, floating 25 million miles away, when in fact that's what it looks like. NASA will show you all of these beautiful worlds. They're amazing, right? But this is what they really look like when you get a good telescope or a super zoom camera. This is what they look like. What are they? I think they're sentient in nature. They're named after gods, right? What about did you see these new planets from NASA? What do you think of these planets?
We're just tossing new ones in there by the week, right?
Yeah. Unfortunately, these are frying pans. Okay. These are the bottoms of frying pans. I'm just showing you how easy it is to fool you. Yeah. NASA shows us this stuff. I'm like, this is the dumbest thing ever. And people just believe it because they believe NASA. The most famous picture of Saturn, which is, you can't really see, but you guys remember it. You've seen this. We took it off their website, cranked it up in Photoshop. Oh, look how they put it together. This is just layers of crap. This is not a photograph. Yeah. This is I don't even want to call it Photoshop. They probably did it, like collages, and then took a picture and then didn't realize that we had Photoshop in the future. If you look at this is
shocking how bad some of it is, right? It's like, come on.
Famous picture from the moon. You got the Earth in the background. Took it off their website, put it in Photoshop, cranked up the levels, and what do you know? There's a box around the Earth. See the box? I'll zoom in. There's a box. It's just clipped and pasted in there. They didn't even turn that into a PNG. I stink at Photoshop, and I could do that. Okay. It's
Well, you sure made the frying pans look like planets, so you're not that bad.
I mean, you can make anything look like a planet. It's ridiculous. Go outside, take a picture of something, put a little shadow on it, make a circle, put it in a black background, and tell someone it's a planet, right? You know, this is the Earthrise from the Japanese when they were orbiting over the moon. Look at this. I don't even want to say Photoshop because that's in disgrace to Photoshop.
And then people that are on the opposite side of the fence, let's say, they will laugh at when you call it Photoshop or when you say it's a bad movie. And like even Elon Musk said about his car floating in space, it looks so fake, you know it's real.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake. We'd have better CGI. That's what he said.
Yeah, it's verbatim.
Yeah.
So what do you think then? Do you have any theories that you kind of rest upon for what the sun and Earth? I'm sorry, the sun and moon are and how they rotate around us.
What the sun and moon are, I think that they're focus points of energy within the Earth system. You know, the dome, in my opinion, is a magnifying glass, and it's like when you take a magnifying glass, go outside today with a magnifying glass and go burn some ants like you did when you were a kid. Don't deny it. Don't deny it. And look at the little circle, and looks just like a sun. It looks just like a sun, right? And then try doing it into a mirror and see what happens. Crazy stuff. So I think that the sun that we see is a reflection. The moon also is a projection. In the app under eclipses, I have a couple of videos in there that I did an experiment showing the projected sun and the projected moon and an eclipse happening, and it was crazy. So you see this? This is the moon transiting the Earth. All right. Did you see that? Here it comes. This is what they showed us, the moon transiting the Earth. I just saw one the other day where they showed it on the far side of the Earth going behind the Earth, and it was the same size, right? They're showing the whole Earth, and they showed it go behind the Earth, but the moon was the same size. The moon is twice the distance that away, and it's the same size.
The same exact size. Like
they can't even get their proportions right. Everything they do is just beyond ridiculous.
They don't even have, I know it's, once you see it, it's like, well, they don't even have particularly smart or adept people working on these deceptions.
Or they're doing it on purpose just to mock us because they always have to tell us what they're doing. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've seen this. I didn't film it long before I was a flat earth. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then I skied down the mountain. Okay. Right. This is like some weird stuff going on. And if you compare that to there's a thing called the coffee cup caustic, where when you watch light go through a curved glass, it makes the same patterns. I'm trying to find it as I'm talking to you.
Because we're working on the premise here that there is indeed a firmament or a dome over the Earth, correct? That there's
some people don't think there's a dome. Some people think it's flat top. Some people think it's water up there without a physical dome. I don't know. I think there's a dome. There's plenty of evidence of a dome, but that's something we're up for discussion. So remember this pattern, and then we look at, light looking onto a sphere kind of creates the same thing, right?
You certainly wouldn't get that effect just shining a flashlight on a basketball.
Right. And 100%. And if you look at this is the daylight night throughout the year. So this is December, and then when it goes the other way, that'll be June. Here's the June solstice right there, and I'm moving this little light outside of this dome, kind of making the same thing. You see how the light wraps around, and when I push it, the light wraps around. It's kind of matching the same light patterns that we experience here on Earth.
Wow, that's interesting.
And people will also, we're getting close. A couple other things I wanted to get in. They will also say, well, if they don't understand or believe in any kind of firmament, so they think that NASA or whoever is shooting all these satellites into space, and the satellites are orbiting the Earth, and that's what's giving us all of our technology. Can you explain like what satellites actually are?
Yeah. So did you know that NASA owns almost all of the helium companies in the world and is the largest consumer of helium in the world?
Really?
Yeah. So one thing that they do it is all of their satellites go up on balloons, not on rockets, right? And the rockets
Right.
are also balloons.
Plenty of video of this too.
Yeah, I have I'm going to actually add it. The rockets are balloons to to one of the buttons because there's too many videos now to just have them scattered all over the place. So I'm going to add that to the app. Rockets are balloons. This is a balloon carrying up, thousands of pounds of satellites. Some of the balloons are bigger than football stadiums, right? They're carrying massive loads up there, right? How come you haven't heard about this program that you funded?
Right. How much tax money is it?
$65 million a day. Including leap year. Yeah. $65 million a day. I don't believe NASA gets that money. I believe
No, I don't either. Yes.
I believe that they're just taking that from us because it's all part of the control system. NASA, whatever they need, they just type in the computer and fake money goes. Money's fake. Money's not real. Right.
So you're saying that these balloons eventually stop rising because they hit.
They go to a certain level. They can calculate. They can actually move them up and down and bring them into different wind currents to keep them kind of in the same area that they want. They go up there for over a year at a time. Some maybe much longer.
Wow.
And then they're crashing all over the world too. And people are getting, everyone has a high def camera in their pocket, and so they're actually getting videos of them before they come and get swept away. We had an ex-military guy saying that he was in a program where they were retrieving balloons in the air, just a balloon retrieval situation.
Yeah, the CIA's had a program like that for a long time. Yeah,
we launched a balloon. There was something special about it. It was like there was an eclipse going on or something. We launched it at night, and we're tracking it, and all of a sudden we saw like this little light come towards it, and then it disappeared from our tracking, and we never found the balloon again.
Wow.
We're like, what the hell happened? We always find our balloons, right? And
don't worry, because the Pentagon is just disclosing all the UFO
more nonsense. Fauci's emails, more nonsense. And here's how. Oops, frig it. All right, go ahead. Cover for me for a second.
It's fascinating how it's all so interconnected, and I honestly don't know sometimes how you don't. I guess, like you said, you don't get bored. How are you able to keep all this together? We haven't even gotten into like nukes. We haven't gotten into several of the things that I think dinosaurs, some of the things that people are so conditioned to be tied to, that there's such a visceral connection for them that they simply can't let it be severed for whatever reason. I guess because and I think the reason it's so important to do the flat earth is because it is, like you said, the linchpin. Once you pull that, none of the rest of this stuff is going to add up for you anymore either.
Once you see this, you stop. You start seeing everything, right? So this is all you need to know about dinosaurs. With the pyramids being built, all of the ancient stuff, no one ever mentioned a dinosaur. With all of the excavations that were done all around the world, no one ever mentioned it. In the 1800s, some royal guy wrote a paper, published a paper about the idea that dinosaurs existed. And then a year later to the day, he discovers the first dinosaur. Okay. Do I need to say anything else?
No,
that's it. Done. Right. And nuclear bombs, this is all you need to know. What about Hiroshima and Nagasaki? That's a program response.
It never happened again.
Yeah, there's video of them stacking pallets of TNT at ground zero in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Okay. The bomb went off 3 days later. Nuclear bomb went off 3 days later. The flower shops are open. The sandwich shops are open. The trains are running, and people are back to work.
You don't see that when a nuclear power plant melts down.
And the only person that could write or take pictures, write articles, was one guy that worked for the Associated Press or whatever organization it was. Anyone else that took a picture or wrote an article was jailed.
Right, absolutely. One guy. People have, and they will say, "Oh, that's." But I think the good thing is that you just say stuff like that, and then people say, "Oh, that's pardon my friends, but it's bullshit." No way, that's not true. You go look it up, and you earnestly look and research into it. It's absolutely true. And so, what other conclusion would one draw then? If it was anything else, if it was just like, oh, this is the best pizza in the world, but only this one reviewer has been able to review it and everything about the ingredients is hidden. Like you wouldn't believe it's the best pizza.
So this dusty, dirty ball can reflect light. Dusty, dirty ball reflects light all the way back to Earth, so bright that you can read by it.
It never.
How dumb is that?
Yeah.
Right. And if you look at the inverse square law of light, which is every time you half the distance to something, it gets 4 times brighter, or every time you double the distance, it's a quarter of the brightness. Doing the calculations on this, by the time you got to 100 miles of the moon, there's like tens of millions of lumens that would just melt your face. Okay.
Yeah.
For the moon to look this bright at that distance, it would have to be magnitudes brighter. Okay. And if you have a single source light lighting a sphere, doesn't it usually have a little hot spot and then it kind of fades off to the end? Or is this its own light? Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Are we getting to the point where you're ready to throw your hands up?
No.
Throw your hands up.
I have
Say
so
it.
many more questions.
We're getting close to Uncle, I feel
Right.
like.
How about this? How come 238,000 mile away light doesn't light up all the clouds? How come it's lighting up only the ones that it looks like it's right next to? The answer is because it's right next to them.
Right next to them. Right. And we were saying the one of non-professor Dave's big arguments was like, well, I put this stake in the ground here, and I put this stake in the ground miles away. And we talked about this on the episode.
Yeah, we had to do one of these experiments in college. Yeah.
The Aristophanes experiment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so, first of all, Aristophanes was a mathematician 2,000 years ago that did this experiment, and he figured out that the Earth was a sphere and the size of the sphere within 2%, according to Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Right? Does that make him a superstar in the mathematician world?
It should.
Say yes. All right. So there was other mathematicians that came out of the same area in the centuries following that wrote many, many, many books, and they never included Aristophanes in any of those books. That's like you writing a history of the Chicago Bulls and never mentioning Michael Jordan. Okay. So the other thing is he did his experiment supposedly, and he had his buddy 500 miles away. How did he talk to his buddy? Right. So he's got his stick straight up and down. There's no shadow because that's how it works. Right. He's here. The sun, distant sun, all the rays are coming in parallel. Right. All the rays coming in parallel. And first question is, why would he think the rays are coming in parallel when no one's ever seen parallel rays? But we're assuming the sun's 10 million miles away. If it's 10 million miles away, the rays should come in parallel. All right. So he's there. His buddy's 500 miles away. His buddy's stick has a shadow. He can do perfectly good math, figure out the sphericity of this ball, and he got it pretty darn close. Problem is, on a flat Earth with a small local sun, he's got no shadow here, same angles, does the math. You could figure out the sphericity with the same equation of this flat plane. Okay? We don't live on a math equation. And so we brought this up so many times that NDT, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, he did a video on it going, yeah, well, flat earthers say, and it does work on a flat Earth also. He goes, except if you add a third stick or a third well, and then it doesn't work. And in his animation, it showed the shadow working perfectly on a flat Earth. But he goes, but it doesn't work if you have a third stick or a third well. He says it. No one's ever done it. But it does work. Okay. Yeah, it does. So they just say things and like, oh, flat earthers this, and every time, he's like, well, you can't see the curve unless you're at 70,000 feet. And then we show him a balloon at 110,000 feet. And then he goes, well, Felix Baumgarten or whatever his name is, the Red Bull guy, he couldn't see the curve because that's flat from up there. They keep moving the globe post.
Yeah, absolutely. They'll keep saying, not high enough, not high enough. No, you don't see it yet.
Yeah.
Man, so what do you think is all this enlightenment that you have? What's the point? What are you going to do with it? What's the game plan here?
The game plan is to help people wake up, help people stop participating in the fear matrix, and help the person to your right. If everyone did that, the whole world would be good. Right? Yeah. They want us living in fear
all the way around the world. Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. How much systemic racism have you seen personally?
Me personally,
not all that much.
No. None. You'd see none, right? There's none. Right. It's nonsense. Now, there occasionally you got a guy, some idiot, there's idiots everywhere, right? There's they're dividing us. They're divided us by countries, by races, by color, by religion, by sports teams, by political party, by vax, not vaxxed. They're dividing because they know if we ever get together, they're fucked.
You're absolutely, and that's why it's like, well, then why? Hopefully doing this has provided some small service to, I mean, it seems like an esoteric take. I hope we have a good time talking about it, but it really is important. Like I think the more people that can really grasp this, the more we will be able to really take down all of those artificially made dividing lines that you just talked about. And those are just a couple, right? Like there's so many more that they use to splinter us. And I think this is an important thing that I think takes. I wanted to commend you personally because it takes so much fortitude and real courage to stand out there and it's like, no, well, this is the truth. And this is just how it is. And to just say it day after day after day and not have any compunction about doing it.
Here's the thing, and take the Flat Earth app challenge. I'm offering 2 Bitcoins for 1 proof of the globe. Watch the video every day for 2 weeks and then check the question that you have in the frequently asked questions because it's probably answered there. If you're already a flat earther, share the app with somebody every other day or once a week, every day. If everybody did that, so many people would wake up. And if you wake up one person, maybe they'll wake up 1,000 people. Mark Sargent and Eric Dubay woke me up and I woke up millions of people now. So if everyone did it, it would escalate so fast. They wouldn't know what to do. Right. So why we have the opportunity, why the internet's still running, why YouTube is still allowing flat earth, get out there and open your mouth because we don't have much time left. The world is coming down. The Great Reset is in full swing. And if it happens, it's your fault. It's your fault. Anything that happens is your own fault.
Well, hopefully we've done some good here. And if you're out there, if you're a listener, you already have on the first episode, go check out the app, grab the app. Even if you are dubious on this, I believe we're not here just kind of wasting your time. I think you will find
I'm saving you time because if you want to research flat earth, you can spend 500 hours and you might find a couple of hours of good content and that's it. So if you're like 497 hours isn't worth $3, maybe flat earth isn't for you. Okay. And you can just keep living in your reality. Listen, I got to run. I got another show. You can find me at theflatearthpodcast.com, Instagram by the same name, Facebook by the same name, The Flat Earth Podcast, and the Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app by Blue Water Bay. Make sure it's the right one. Highly rated in both app stores and Google Play.
Couldn't recommend it enough. Thank you so much again, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Really appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.
The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock app. A dynamic new app to teach family and friends about where they actually live. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun measures the hours and days. The moon measures the weeks and months. The star constellations measure the seasons and years. 12/12 or 24-hour clock face, or go hands-free. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app with new added features. World Time. See what time it is all around the flat Earth. A true Earth compass that shows true navigation across and around the flat Earth plane. Weather. Tap for detailed local weather information. Know what phase and where the moon is at all times. Watch the sun travel between the tropics for the seasons. Select an amazing background. Add your own or have the app change it to a new one automatically every time you use the app. Add a countdown to your next big date. Learn the truth about our world with the featured video of the day. Web button for additional flat Earth related features, from the mythical curve calculator all the way to Tartaria. While talking to friends, easily pull up pictures that expose the globe lie and shine light on the flat Earth truth. Video playlists in different languages. See the real trade winds circling the flat Earth, and clean screen features. Simply click off the items you don't wish to see. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app is the best tool to show your friends and strangers how our flat Earth actually works.